They called her the Queen of Crime. She understood every motive, every lie, every shadow the human heart could hide. But in December of 1926, Agatha Christie didn't write a mystery. She became one. 11 days, no clear memory, and a betrayal so deep it froze her world in place. Let me ask you something. Have you ever stopped in the middle of your day and thought, I don't feel like myself anymore? Not sad, not angry, just distant. If that feeling sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, there's nothing wrong with you. Death never arrives by itself. It brings silence with it. In the winter of 1926, that silence settled into Agatha's life. Her mother, her anchor, was gone. And from a psychological point of view, losing yourself isn't a failure, it's a response. At first, it doesn't look dramatic. You still show up, you still smile when you're expected to, you still function. But inside, something feels disconnected, like a part of you has stepped back. For Agatha, something even more painful was waiting at home: betrayal. Her husband, Archie, had found comfort in someone else. And when emotional pain lasts too long, grief, betrayal, burnout, the brain looks for a way to reduce the damage. Sometimes, the only way it knows how is to pull you away from yourself. Sometimes, when the weight on the soul becomes too heavy, the body starts looking for an exit. That December night, when Agatha left her car on that fog-covered slope, she wasn't trying to create a mystery. She was running from a pain that had frozen inside her heart. Psychology has a name for this. It's called dissociation, and it isn't weakness, it's protection. If feeling deeply hurts too much, the mind numbs feeling. If identity itself becomes painful, the mind loosens its grip on identity. And here's something important. The people who lose themselves like this are often the strong ones, the dependable ones, the ones who hold everything together. Because they don't release stress, they store it, until one day they look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. Taking on a new name isn't always about hiding. Sometimes it's about being born again. For 11 days in a quiet hotel, Agatha wasn't Agatha. She was Teresa Neely, the last name of her husband's mistress. There's a deep psychological truth here. When pain becomes unbearable, we sometimes try to merge with the very shadow that caused it, not out of weakness, but as a shield. In that hotel, she danced, she smiled, she seemed fine, but inside, a child sat in the dark, crying silently. You understand that feeling, don't you? The world demanded explanations, but some wounds don't heal with words. People mocked her amnesia, but the truth is, she wasn't forgetting. She was resting. Psychology doesn't say you go back to who you were. It says you rebuild. And rebuilding begins when pain is finally acknowledged. Naming what hurt you reduces the mind's need to disconnect. Agatha began to write again, and her work became deeper, stronger, more honest. So why does this happen? Why does the mind choose to forget parts of itself? Often, it begins with emotional suppression. When you're taught that your feelings are too much, when your identity is constantly judged or betrayed, when being you no longer feels safe, the mind decides distance is safer than presence. So how do we avoid falling into that place? First, acknowledge the small hurts. Don't wait for a breakdown to admit you're exhausted. Second, build an identity beyond one person or one role. Your entire sense of self shouldn't rest on a single pillar. And third, expression. Writing, art, talking. Find a place where your voice can exist without being corrected. And if you're listening as a parent, a partner, or a friend, this matters. If someone you love feels distant, understand this. They don't need motivation. They don't need fixing. They need emotional safety. Stop rushing them to be okay. Listen without judgment. Acknowledge how much they've been carrying. Many people lose themselves because they've been holding the weight of everyone else for too long. Here's the truth I want you to remember. Losing yourself doesn't mean you're broken. It means you survived something you weren't given the space to process. The mind doesn't step away from identity without reason. It does it to protect you. And with time, support, and understanding, what feels lost isn't gone. It's waiting to be remembered. There's an old idea from Japan. When a broken bowl is repaired with gold, the cracks remain, but they become part of its beauty. You may have broken like this once. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Your pain makes sense. And just like Agatha Christie, you too can bloom again.